Welcome to the first episode of Killer Minis. In this episode, I'm going to be working on an Ork Warrior from Games Workshop's Warhammer Fantasy line. So grab a brush and a cold beverage, and let's get painting. To prep the Mini's base, I used fine reptile gravel and then added a small piece of aquarium coral that I thought would make a cool piece of bone. I typically use black primer for my undercoating, but on this figure I wanted to see how a white undercoat would help bring out the colors. I'll start painting by giving the base a few coats of Blood Tracker Brown from Privateer Press Formula P3 range. I make it extra thin so it'll reach down into the crevices between the rocks. I'll start by laying down a nice even coat, and I'm going to add multiple coats so I'm not glopping it on. I want to keep it nice and smooth. In mini painting tutorials, painting the base is often shown as the last step, but I usually paint the base first. The reason? I'm a sloppy painter, and all the dry brushing on the base can get a little messy, so painting it first means I don't have to worry about ruining my paint job on the finished figure. I'll add the first highlight layer by dry brushing on top of the base coat using an unthinned 50-50 mix of Blood Tracker Brown and P3 Rucksack Tan. Once I feel I've got the right coverage, I can move on to the next highlight layer, dry brushing with straight Rucksack Tan. For the final highlight, I'll add a little P3 Manoth White base to the Rucksack Tan, and then lightly dust the base again. This final highlight really helps bring out the texture of the base. Little details like this piece of coral help give the Mini a little more character. To paint the coral to make it look like bone, I start the base coat with a 50-50 mix of Blood Tracker Brown and P3 Beast Hide. Then I dry brush on a layer of P3 Jackbone. Finally, I'll add a light dry brush mix of Jackbone and Manoth White highlight to the coral. To finish off the base and give it a cleaner look, I'm going to paint the edges with black. Now that the base is complete, we can move on to part 2, painting the flesh.